I took a boat ride from Grand Prince Hotel Hiroshima and I arrived at an island of the gods. The autumn foliage was divine, simply wonderful. Riding on the Red Arrow, there was another wonderful place near Tokyo. This primeval scenery can only be described as wonderful. Let's come here together someday. Smiles ahead. Seibu Group.
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Denizu.
And I'm Hidemi Naganuma.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from a studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even food, if you want to find out the latest in Japan, this is where you'll find it.
So let's get started. First up is Project Japan, in which we introduce the history of Japan's manufacturing industry and the new challenges it faces. And today's theme is fashion.
The most glamorous event in the fashion industry is, as you may know, the Paris Fashion Week. And it's where all the top brands gather from around the world.
Yes, fashion designers all around the world aspire to participate in this event, but only the top designers are selected and allowed to be on the stage.
Yes. And at this Paris Fashion Week, the number of brands that use fabrics and knitted material from Japan is increasing.
So what kind of material from Japan are popular now?
Well, one is high-density polyester and specially printed fabrics from the Hokuriku region. Another one is wool and wool jersey fabric from the Tokai region, and also a unique denim fabric from the Chugoku region. And many top brands of Western countries use these Japanese fabrics, and one such brand uses Japanese-made fabrics for 70% of the collection.
Yes, so today we'll introduce fashion in Japan with a focus on Japanese fabric and material that's gathering a lot of attention worldwide.
Looking back reveals the future. The miracle of Japanese manufacturing. Today, we'll examine what it takes to surpass the originals in the world of fashion. It's a fashion original that's part of American history and spirit, but in New York, history is changing. We visited a jeans store on a street lined with high-end boutiques. The label says, "Made in Japan." In fact, most of the jeans sold here are made in Japan.
It's made with great care. We found in our personal experience that there really is no match to Japanese denim.
Even in Paris, where the world's top brands go head-to-head, Momotaro, made in Japan.
Considère comme la plus grosse marque de jeans américain qui est Levi's Vintage. C'est les rééditions des jeans, sauf que la qualité du jean n'est pas comparable avec la qualité des jeans japonais.
Parisians today are into Momotaro jeans. Why are Japanese jeans so popular? We headed to Okayama to find out. Southern Okayama is home to a quiet port in Kurashiki City. Prior to World War II, they made military garments here. After the war, they used those skills to make school uniforms. In this town, there are dedicated companies for each step in the jeans making process. Makers from around the world, including top European brands, order their denim distressed here. What techniques do they use? A newly made pair of jeans is placed on a form. When rubbed with a rasp, wrinkle marks that makes the jeans look well worn appear. Here, they're using a tool called a grinder. By precisely controlling the pressure, a frayed look is achieved. Each of these techniques was developed in-house. By combining various techniques, more complex, distressed looks can be created.
皆さんが気づかないような本当に繊細なところにこだわって作ったりもするので、そこが海外にもすごい評価されていることの一つだと思います。
どうせやるなら日本人が作ったものが世界一と言わせるぐらいのものを作りたいと思いましたね。じゃあ日本人としてどう出せるかといった時には、私はやはり色だと思うんですね。日本にしかない青を使いたい。どうぞどうぞ。
Although a latecomer in the jeans market, Japan showed it can take on the world.
この中に染料となる藍が発酵してますね。
Aizome is a traditional Japanese dyeing process once popular in this region during the Edo period.
染めてる時は本当に青色。
At the start, the color is not blue.
黄緑がかった色ですけども、青い色ではないですね。緑に近いですね、つけばね。これがすごい気に入ったというか、どうしてもやはりこの緑をね、なんとかジーンズに持っていきたいなと。
A uniquely Japanese blue with a hint of green. With this color, he planned to take on the world. Over 2 years, he tested several hundreds of colors. The perfected dye was a blue with a tinge of green. The more it's worn, the more complex the color becomes. He called it Japan Blue. When it became available, orders from Europe's top brands came pouring in.
More of it, you'll see it when the color fades, you'll see more of the green color. A lot of times with the natural indigo, you'll see more of that green color.
A blue found nowhere else. The world accepted Japan's color.
日本人の探求心と執着心と、細部のこだわり、もっともっと日本人の手にかかれば進化するんじゃないかなと。歴史もある面では超えられるんかな、入れるんかなという思いでものを作りを今やってますね。
Japanese tradition and precision skills allowed Japan to surpass an original. The textile industry is the backbone of Japanese fashion. In the late 1800s, factories like Tomioka Silk Mill imported European machines. The silk industry supported Japan's economy. Eventually, Japanese technology advanced and swept the world. By the 1920s, Japan led the world in silk market share. Silk factories hired skilled women from all across the country. The skill of these women's hands produced silk thread unmatched anywhere in the world. At a museum in the former silk-producing city of Okaya in Nagano, we watched a demonstration of turn-of-the-century silk spinning. A single silk thread is made by twisting fibers from 5 cocoons into one. Pay attention to the left side of the screen.
繭が一つ終わりそうなので、新しい繭を足しています。
One of the cocoon fibers is about to run out of fiber. Before it is depleted, another fiber is quickly added, and the spent cocoon is cut away. It is important to constantly have 5 cocoon fibers. Adding a new fiber happens in the blink of an eye. When seen in super slow motion, the new cocoon fiber can be seen drawn into the silk thread. Keeping the number of fibers constant creates threads of uniform thickness. If the number of fibers vary, the string becomes lumpy. The dexterous hands of these silk ladies of the day propelled the industry forward. The thread-making machines of the late 1800s were imported from France and Italy. However, as continual in-house improvements were added, a machine that could once make only one thread at a time can now make 20. Further successes in automating the process made mass production of quality silk possible. The skills of the silk ladies and indigenous advances in machinery developed Japan's silk industry. These models are wearing the latest fashions. These outfits were made by a first-of-its-kind machine created by Japanese technology. Now, the world's top brands are clamoring to get that machine. The manufacturer is Shimaseiki of Wakayama. Every one of the dresses in the show was made by this fully automated computer knitting machine. We asked to have a dress made. After about a 50-minute wait, a knit one-piece dress appeared. A complete garment needing no additional work.
このラインが普通は縫い目があると伸びないんですが、持てないから引っ張るとピュッと伸びる。
Knitting machines were first invented in 16th century England. After the war, knitting machines for the home became popular in Japan. With a knitting machine, the front, back, and sleeves are woven separately and must be sewn together. Of course, that means seams. Why is there no seam? A look inside shows 4,000 knitting needles moving at high speed, knitting in 3 dimensions at once. The finished garment has no seams and never pulls unevenly. Seams can be objectionable in see-through knits, but with this machine, that worry is gone. The world lauded this machine as Eastern magic. One after another, well-known fashion brands are installing this machine. The machine's creator is none other than the company president, who even at 78 years of age, still works in the design lab. Well known as an inventor even as a child, he started a company in 1962 to manufacture gloves using a machine he developed himself. He continued to improve the machine, eventually developing a revolutionary machine that knitted rounded fingertips. This became the world's first completely automated globe knitting machine. That machine eventually led to today's version.
これをもっと絞ってこういうふうにするとタートルネックになるでしょ。真ん中を筒にすると無縫製のやつができるだろうな。
Technology that began with making gloves gave birth to a new machine that knits without seams.
世界でも唯一ぐるりが海で資源のない国やからよりいいもの、世界にないものを作り出していく。それが日本の生きる道っていう時代が変わってでもやはり姿勢は変わらないと思いますね。
With an idea and a desire to help people, he created a one-of-a-kind machine. Carbon fibers are changing the world. Although originally invented in the United States, new carbon fibers created by Japanese technology are constantly finding new applications. Carbon fiber is strong and light. Compared to steel of identical size, carbon fiber is only about 1/4 the weight, but 10 times as strong. Boeing's newest jet, the 787 Dreamliner, began commercial service in 2011. 50% of its airframe is made of carbon fiber composites. A 20% reduction in weight increased flight range by 20%. Space rockets also use it. Carbon fibers have taken the world by storm. Japan's fiber technology began from a single thread. And therein lies the power to surpass the original.
Well, the process of adding silkworm thread was incredibly fast, but are there any other new material that's growing popularity lately?
Apparently, yes. This is a dress that lights up in the dark when it's exposed to special kind of light. Now, this dress was made using the silk spun by genetically modified silkworms.
It's very amazing and beautiful. While much of the focus is on new fabric made by traditional method, well, this completely new fabric from Japan may spark a new trend in fashion world. Well, that's it for Project Japan. After the break, we'll be showing you a documentary program, so stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tokyo Skytree. Be awestruck by the panoramic view. There are so many other fun things to do after you've enjoyed the view. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go, let's enjoy. This is Tokyo Skytree.
We do our jobs with sincerity and integrity to make a better living environment for the people and our society. Today's work, tomorrow's heritage. Shimizu Corporation.
Machines can do much more to unleash human potential. Pure possibility. Omron.
You're watching Channel Japan. In our next segment, we will introduce some of our popular documentary programs. Today from Japanese Junba TBS, we'll introduce a man who innovated a new technology that can transport fresh fish without freezing them.
Raw tuna that was caught 20 days ago. It looks fresh by its appearance. But how is the taste? Freshness is crucial for tuna, a high-class food. If it can be kept without losing its flavor, it will be cheaper and easier to buy. Strange bubbles that help to keep the freshness of fish. It was developed by the president of an intermediate wholesaler at fish markets.
取れた時の魚の状態をそのままタイムスリップしてですね、3日後にもね、同じ状態を届けたい。
We are entering an era where we can eat freshly caught fish at any time or place. Kenichi Mogami, a professional of fish who is particular about freshness.
I have a dream.
Tuna is familiarly known as a pelagic fish. Caught through distant water fishing, it is frozen and taken back to shore. At Shiogama Fishing Port, tuna from sea near Japan was being landed. However, this fresh tuna has never been frozen.
生だけな、生を水そのまま持って帰るんで、営業の方はもう凍結で、そのまま船の上でこちこちに凍結して帰ってくるけど、水っぽいから魚を下ろした時。
Although it's sea near Japan, it takes 5 days to get there by ship. They go after tuna that swim up north via the Japan Current. Once the ship is put out to sea, it won't return to shore for 2 to 3 weeks. How is the freshness of the tuna?
なんとかいろいろ薬が使いよったな、みんな。匂い防止の鮮度のあれに。
Now they don't use any preservatives at all. Each tuna hauled up on deck is put in a water tank. It will obviously go bad if it is left in this state. We watch the next process. The fishermen place a cragged device inside the water tank. In an instant, bubbles start forming. But this is not ordinary air. It is surprising new technology that keeps the freshness of tuna for 20 days.
今まで全然違う。4年前とかと魚の鮮度もやっぱなったしな。やっぱ食べる消費者の食べるしはだいぶ違うわな。
Raw tuna from Shiogama Fishing Port is delivered to Mogami in Kitakyushu.
川肌にね、指突っ込んでみるんですよ。で、それを匂ってみる。匂いがないか、生臭いか、腐敗臭があるか、薬臭いか、これを見ない。
This tuna was caught 20 days ago, but thanks to those strange bubbles, it is just as fresh as when it was caught. The strange bubbles that Mogami developed. It is showing tremendous results for all sorts of fish. Caught fish start going bad because the oxygen in water starts the process of oxidation, increasing the amount of bacteria. The simple solution would be to remove the oxygen. But how? Mogami had a genius idea.
大気中にはこの空気とその空気というのは酸素ですね。それと窒素が 78% と言われておりましたので、じゃあその害はないじゃないかということで窒素ということを考えています。
By filling the water up with nitrogen bubbles, oxygen is chased out. Yet no matter how big the bubbles are, if they rise to the surface, there is no point to this method. This device creates small bubbles that mix in with the water. In the tubular section of this device, there is a honeycomb-structured board. A number of these are layered on top of each other, not perfectly in line, creating smaller holes. When nitrogen is passed through, tiny bubbles, just 1/1,000,000th of a millimeter, called nanobubbles, are created. The nanobubbles created from nitrogen combine with the oxygen and are able to push it out of the water. Thus, the amount of oxygen in the water decreases, leaving more space for nitrogen. However, when it was developed 8 years ago, it was not accepted by anyone. The technology to accurately measure 1/1,000,000th of a millimeter sized bubbles did not exist.
ただの水にしか見えない。だから私がいくら言っても大企業の人たちあるいは大学の先生たちは何もわからないわけですね。いやもう歯がいもどかしいバカにされたというようなね分かってくれないというそういうことの連続でしたですね。
3 years on, a long-awaited measuring device was developed in the UK. It was used to measure the nanobubbles. It proved that in 1 millimeter of water were over 700 million bubbles.
普通4000だ、多くても 1億しかないと。それが7億とか7億2000万というのは驚きだと。未だかって、こんなの見たことがないと。いや本当なんだなと、すごいんだなと思いました。やったと思いましたね。
Views on the device changed completely. It was spoken highly of as a great invention that would change the storing method of fish. Mogami has arrived at a fish breeding farm in Hiroshima. From a year ago, they have been putting Mogami's nanobubbles to practical use. Here, there are live fish. If the water is filled with nitrogen bubbles, they would die, but here they are swimming lively. This is because oxygen bubbles are being generated instead of nitrogen ones. This could be the beginning to a new phase in the world of breeding.
赤潮だとかそういうのはみんな酸素不足なんですよね。酸素不足で魚がみんな死んでしまうわけですね。だったらナノバブルで酸素を供給してやればいいじゃないかということですね。
When the seawater temperature rises in summertime, the level of oxygen concentration drops. Fish use oxygen to eat food and would therefore suffocate to death if they are fed too much. Reducing the amount of food in summer is common practice in breeding. But by filling the water with oxygen bubbles, plenty of food can be given to the fish, and they will develop quickly and in size.
おお、でかいじゃないですか。これね。
1年かかんないで1キロになると思いますよ。
完全に商品になるというと何ヶ月ぐらい
？12ヶ月、1年で完全になるでしょうね。
なるほど。で通常だとどれぐらいですか
？2年。2年。2年かかる。天然だったら3年から4年かかります。
At the fish market, one person in particular is especially overjoyed at Mogami's nanobubbles. It is his only son. He continued to support his father, who had used up all their family's savings on the development of the device.
もう思いがまっすぐで、朝も昼も夜ももう勉強して成し遂げる人なんで、なのでその辺はもうものすごく尊敬してますね。
His wife tells us about the time when she was enraged at Mogami for spending their savings.
あなたのすることは間違いないと思ってましたけどね、まあ、よく本当ここまでね来れたと思います。こんないい人をね、もう神様が見捨てるならね、私はもう神様も仏様もね、 もう信用せんと思ってね、内心思ってたんですよ。本当にありがとうございました。
まあ思い出しますけどね、嬉しいと言いますかね、ありがたいというかね、本当感謝したいと、そういう思いです。まあやっぱりいつも安心安全、奥さんたちはですね、自分の家族を安心安全なものを、しかも安価なものを求めて毎日努力してるわけですから、それに少しでも私たちは安心で安全な鮮度のいいものをこのようにして、提供してますよと、心の中でね大きな叫びを持ってね、打っていきたいと、そう思っています。
Well, after the break, we'll be showing you a popular economics program, Gachiri Monday. So don't go away.
Mitsui & Company.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way, the Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
The sport truck. New Mitsubishi Triton.
Drive at Earth, Mitsubishi Motors.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we'll be showing you a popular Japanese economics program, Gachiri Monday by TBS. Today's theme is wires.
The wire made at this company is wire rope. Wire rope is used to pick up or pull heavy objects. Obviously, a high level of safety is demanded, so strength and durability are very important. So, how is it made?
こちらはロープの材料になります洗剤です。洗剤。はい。1束が2トンぐらいあります。
The material used to make wire rope is made of steel. The first step is turning the wire rods into wires.
こちらは先ほどの材料をですね、細くしていく工程、伸ばす線と書いて伸線と言います。
The wire rod gets pulled into the machine. Inside, the machine has many parts that revolve like tires. You can see that the wire rods wrap around them and go into this hole.
という穴に材料を入れて、で細くすります。
The entrance hole is just slightly bigger than the exit hole. So the wire becomes thinner as it goes through the die. The die holes become smaller. After passing through 8 of these holes, the wire rod goes from 5.5 millimeters in diameter to only 2 millimeters thick and is 10 times longer.
力をね、強くするということが目的になりますね。
One would imagine that stretching wire would weaken it. However, stretching the steel organizes the disorganized structure of the steel. It is the same principle as tearing cotton, which is easily torn apart when loose, but hard to tear after spinning. The completed wire is now heated to 1,000 degrees Celsius and cooled in water. This process is repeated, increasing the strength even more. An important step in making wire rope starts next.
何十個か集めて今度ワイヤーロープになります。
They are placed inside this long, narrow machine called the twisting machine. After the wires are put through the side of the machine, the twisting machine itself begins to rotate. At the front of the machine,
集めたワイヤーを回転させることでより合わせをします。36本集めています。36本。はい。
the twisting must be done at a steady speed. Otherwise, irregularities will be created in the wire rope, making those sections weak. The reason the wire is twisted is to make it easier to bend. If wires are bound together in straight lines, all the pressure will fall into one section when bent. Twisting spreads the pressure evenly across all the wires, making it easier to bend.
ワイヤーロープの完成ですか？
いやいや、これがストランドという工程なんです。先ほど出来上がりましたストランドを集めてワイヤーロープにする工程です。
They use an even bigger machine, bringing 6 strands together and twisting them even more. The key point is to twist them in the opposite direction of the previous process. Twisting them in the opposite direction tightens the strands together and makes them less likely to come apart. Now the wire rope is finished. The completed product is 30 millimeters thick. It is a wire rope for cranes, and each one can support 80 tons of weight. Next up is a company that makes ends for wire rope. This loop is called a sling, and it's used to pull and hang heavy products. It is a vital part of this wire rope called sling or hoop. They showed us how it is made. This craftsman will make a sling using a rope wire 18 millimeters in diameter.
今これワイヤーがあってワイヤーロープがあってですね、今これ先っちょをこうぐるっと回る回して隅と隅を合わせてですね、輪っかを作りましたよね。ここからスタートしていくわけです。
Next, the craftsman brings out a drill-like tool. After putting the tool through the wire rope, he starts to loosen up the ends.
ストランドを今バラしているところです。どんどんバラバラになって。
The process to make a sling begins by loosening up the twisted strands. Next, the loose strands are put through the space he made earlier.
ここから5回刺します。今1回目ですね。で次2回目。2回目。はい。で次3回目。
The loop is made with the wire rope, and the end is loosened into 6 strands. Next, each strand is knit into the base of the loop. After knitting each strand 4 times, half the strand is knit another 2 times. Then they cut off the remaining ends with pliers and finish the shape with a hammer. The loop sling is finished. But does this process need to be done by hand?
隙間に入れていくっていう作業がですね、なかなか機械ではできない。
Because the wire rope structure is so complex, the processes of inserting tools without damaging the wire rope and knitting the strands in the limited space require the precise skills of a craftsman. The cost of making one 18mm wire rope sling is about 2,000 yen.
これよりもっと太いロープもですね、1回の方でやってますんで、これね、56ミリです。56ミリ。はい。めちゃめちゃ太くなりましたね。
At this size, pulling the loosened strands alone is hard work. They even use an electric cutter grinder to cut off the unneeded parts. The final product is also big and costs 50,000 yen to make. wire rope is used to raise and lower heavy loads, such as shipping containers. This company's wire ropes are even used on the U.S. Navy's Aegis destroyers. These craftsmen's skills support their products.
これはオーディオに使うためのオーディオのケーブルです。オーディオ。はい。
Next, we will introduce cables used to connect all kinds of audio devices. This cable looks bigger and the connector looks different from other audio cables. Apparently, this cable is used to connect CD players to amplifiers.
だいたい2万円前後ぐらいなんですね。
しますね。
結構しますね。
They also make electric cables for connecting amplifiers to electrical outlets.
2万切るぐらいの値段なんですけれども。2
万を切る。
According to this representative, quality electricity is needed to make high-quality sound. Because of this, there are quite a few customers who purchase this electric cable. So, how different is the sound when using these cables? To find out, we went to a listening room.
製品の開発や試聴を行うための試聴室になっています。
First, we listen to the sound using a regular cable.
いきます。
Next, they switched all the cables.
では聞いていただきましょう。はい。はい。
音が太くなった感じ。
そうですね。
Let's find out what makes these cables special.
よりクリアに、ピュアに信号を送るために、非常に精度を高めたケーブルを作りを心がけています。精度。
The key is the copper wires used inside the cable. So we visited the electric wire factory, where they co-developed these copper wires.
まず母線を細くする新線機と言いますけれども。
Like the wire cables we saw earlier, this factory also passes the wires through machines to make thick materials thinner. However, the machines are slightly different.
でこの中にダイヤモンドが入ってまして、はい。天然のダイヤモンドの方が表面が滑らかになる。なるほど。
The regular machine use artificial diamonds. And although natural diamonds are 10 times more expensive, they help to make the surface of the copper wire more smooth. Furthermore, this company focused on the thickness of the intertwined copper wires.
通常ですと同じサイズのものをより合わせるとですね、こういうふうに六角形に通常なっちゃう。で、親出さんからはこれを深淵に近づけてくれた。なるほど。
When round wires of the same size are combined, they create a hexagon shape like this. This creates uneven spacing between the wires and the surrounding insulation. To resolve this, a veteran craftsman came up with an idea.
こちらになりますね。
By combining 3 copper wires of different size, they achieved a shape that is very close to a perfect circle. This company even patented the idea. The wire made at this next company is called gum metal. It maintains the hardness of metal. But even if bent, it returns to its original shape, like rubber. 4 different metals are used to make gunmetal: titanium, niobium, tantalum, and zirconium.
反発の強いスポーツ用品プラス体に触れるところとしてメガネのフレームであったりというようなところに主に使われております。
For example, it is used in golf clubs and rackets that require flexible recoil, and in eyeglasses that can be bent but recoil to their original shape. The example that utilized this product's feature the most is wire for dental braces. Until now, most dental braces use stainless steel wire. However, stainless steel wire loses its recoil power with time. So it had to be changed during treatment, which required extra time. With gunmetal wire, this recoil power lasts for a long time, so the wire doesn't have to be changed. Hence, it shortens the time needed for treatment. So, how is this product made?
こちらがゴムメタルの矯正ワイヤーを作るラインです。
Also, they have a wire drawing process. Although the materials vary, the method of making wires is basically the same. This gunmetal wire for dental braces is priced at 10,000 yen each. There will be a greater use for the special properties of gunmetal in the future. It may even be used to make artificial bones.
Potenza.
Let's go look for Mitsubishi Electric around the world. Singapore. Bali. Jakarta. Tokyo. Michigan. Kuala Lumpur. Mitsubishi Electric.
Channel Japan, your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
Well, besides glasses frames and the wire for dental braces shown in the video, I'm sure wire is used in many other products that's found in our daily lives.
Yes, and there are some wire products that are growing in popularity lately because they can be used in various places. Now, this wire clip, unlike other clips, can be hung on things such as bars thanks to its hook.
Wow, so this will be useful in kitchen or in the storage area.
Yes, and currently superfine wires are being used in accessories and other products, and its application will probably continue to grow in the future.
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show. This is it for this edition of Channel Japan. There will be more on the latest information from Japan, so join us again next week.